So yeah, Forever Healthy Foundation. Forever Healthy is a private non-profit organization founded by myself, and our main goal is to enable people to vastly extend their healthy lifespan and to be part of the first generation where aging is under full medical control. So we very much want to accelerate the advent of rejuvenation therapies. I'm skipping the part telling you all the advantages of rejuvenating people and staying healthy. My big picture is that we are living in amidst a scientific revolution, albeit it's a silent one, so it's not visible to the general public. You have to be in this community to really know what's going on. And can you all understand me? Is that okay with the okay? And you have to really be in the community to understand what's going on. And for me, it's a threefold scientific revolution. The first thing is that there is already a vast amount of unfortunately unused medical knowledge that we could use right now to keep ourselves healthy, even to slow down our aging process a little bit, and starting this year, also to rejuvenate ourselves a little bit. But if you go to a regular physician, to your ordinary doctor, and say, please, what can I do to stay healthy and to rejuvenate myself and to get my body in better shape, most doctors will not be able to answer that question. They just prescribe your pills, so that's a big challenge or a big opportunity. The second thing of this revolution is there are new drugs and therapies already under development. That was inconceivable 10 years ago, but now there are drugs under development that actually in animal models can rejuvenate these animals quite dramatically. Clinical trials have started, and there are also some first generation therapies that you could do on your own. I will talk about this later on. And the third thing is that the stuff that Aubrey promoted for years now, we now understand that molecular and cellular repair of age-related damage can really rejuvenate and stave off the aging process. So for me, and I think for a lot of people in this community, it's not a question if we can rejuvenate people, but rather when we can do it. And since timing is an issue, the big question is how do we make it happen for us and not for people in 100 years or so. I'm really interested to accelerate things. So I gave the whole thing a lot of thinking on how to approach this big challenge, and I've came up with a so to speak dual strategy that I would like to briefly explain. So this chart shows you basically the average survival curve. It's a bit generalized, of a species. In this case, it's the human species, but you can also view it as the health distribution over time. So up to the age of 30, everybody is pretty much in very good shape. Once you approach 65, your health has already gone down a bit, and nobody is going to live beyond 120 years. That's the maximum lifespan of our species. On the other hand, we have technological progress as we experience it right now in terms of rejuvenating people. So what we want to do is we want to do two things. First of all, we want to speed up the technological progress. So we want to bring the future to us. And the second thing that we want to do is we want to bring ourselves into the future, use everything that we have available right now to extend our healthy years, as simple and as limited as it might appear right now, but buying yourself 5 or 10 healthy years might make a big, big difference, because if you die of cancer or of heart disease or have a stroke, no rejuvenation therapy is going to save you. So it's a big issue to stay healthy for as long as possible, and with new therapies coming up, start using these rejuvenation therapies as soon as it is feasible. So in terms of accelerating the future, we have 3 major initiatives at Forever Healthy. The first one is that we are funding research to accelerate the development of the basic science. We do this in cooperation with Aubrey's SENS Research Foundation. We started that 2.5 years ago. You all know that SENS promotes a root cause-oriented repair approach to repair the molecular and cellular damage that the body does to itself as it is an operation. Currently we fund more than 10 projects with major American universities and like Yale, Buck and Rice, but also at the Sense Research Foundation itself. The majority of our projects that we fund, they have translational focus. This is really important to us. So that means we can take this science, put it into a startup company and have this startup company financed by the VC market in order to bring this therapy really, really fast forward. Our second initiative is the generation or help to instantiate Rejuvenation Start-ups. These are small companies that translate that basic research into therapies for human use. This is not done through my Forever Healthy Foundation. My main business is venture capital, and we have transformed my venture capital company that's used to do internet financing. We do this now, which completely shifted to rejuvenation biotech. We provide mentoring, financing, and support for early stage startups in the rejuvenation space. We have already helped to support 8 startups which are public right now. We have another 2 which are still in stealth. You probably know a lot of these names like Oishins, Lysoclear, HX, and Toxerine, Elevian on this chart. There's also FoxBio and others that we're doing. The topics that we support are super focused on repair approaches like senolytics, tissue regeneration, macular degeneration through Lysoclear. That's the first implementation of lysosomal clearance therapy. GDF11 is a young plasma factor. You probably have heard about that one. It's done by Elevian, and so forth. So this is the main focus. There's also CellAge, for example. It's a small startup from Edinburgh, and they're working on an assay to measure senescent cells in humans, I think, which is very much needed in order to quickly verify whether senolytic therapies are really working, because using pain or whatever as an endpoint if you have arthritis and then say, oh, senolytics are working is not really, it's a bit vague. So Rejuvenation Startups. And our third initiative is the Undoing Aging Conference. We do this together with the Sense Research Foundation. This year was the first event. We turned this in, we just decided to do this as an annual event right now. It takes place in March in Berlin. It's a conference is completely focused on actual rejuvenation therapy. So we're not talking about C. elegans there or like slowing down aging a bit. So the focus is super sharp on actual the science that can actually reverse aging. We're not talking about politics, regulations, or whatever. So it's a pure science-focused thing. This year we have had more than 350 scientists there. The conference is not only for scientists; it's to support the community that's working on the whole project of rejuvenating people. It's also an invitation to the general scientific community to have a look at what's going on in this exciting field. And we also invite the whole longevity community to be part of this. And we had very, very nice conference, fruitful discussions. We had young students from all over Europe coming there. We have got a website, undoingaging.org. I just have a look, and everybody, of course, is invited. We'd love to see you there next year in March. So this is for accelerating the future. And the really, really good news, I think, is concerning the present. There's already a lot we can do today. There's really a vast amount of unused medical knowledge that we could use even to rejuvenate ourselves right now. But unfortunately, it's totally spread out. It's spread out over experts, blogs, buried in research, books, so you name it. It's all over the place. And it's extremely hard to gather holistic information and actionable information. So our big goal at Forever Healthy is to make this knowledge really, really accessible to everybody. And again, we have 3 major initiatives in this area. The first one, we call this our personal longevity strategy. The idea is to harmonize the world-leading know-how on health and longevity. And we're taking a holistic approach, as you're going to see a bit later on. So we cover all the bases because I think it's not only about rejuvenating people, because you can also be 25 and in a really bad shape and feel miserably. So we want to be healthy. We want to be at the top of our mental and physical performance all of our time. The idea is to provide actionable information. It's not so you just don't read interesting facts, but really something that you can use. And we'd also like to empower educated decisions, because there's no doctor that you can go to that is a real health, longevity, life extension doctor that has all the experience that you need to keep yourself healthy. So you have to make your own decisions on, do I do this, do I do this, especially when it comes to the first rejuvenation treatments. And we want to help people by providing that information. Just a short overview on the personal longevity strategy. We've broken it down to 4 major building blocks. The first one is primary prevention. This is everything that a person can do on its own without the need of a doctor, special equipment or whatever, to keep yourself healthy. We're taking an evolutionary health approach, the basic stuff: nutrition, detox, activity, mental balance, sleep patterns, a lot of focus on self-monitoring. There's amazing things that you can do with continuous glucose monitoring, heart rate variability, so you name it. So it's all in there. The second building block is functional medicine, which I personally believe is the future of medicine. It's a root cause-oriented approach, just like sense is a root cause-oriented approach to aging. This is a root cause-oriented approach to staying or being healthy. It's holistic and very methodical and procedural. So it's super test-driven, and it goes like testing the gut, testing the hormones, doing the blood test, doing the urine samples. It's like plugging in the diagnostic plug into a car, sampling the whole picture, and then holistically approaching, are there imbalances, do we rebalance this? And a lot of chronic diseases can be at least starved off for a long time using this approach. This third building block is early detection, because no matter how good your prevention, your functional medicine, and even your rejuvenation therapies are, there is a chance that things go wrong. And if things go wrong, you want to catch those things as early as possible. And then if you want to do the question is, what do I do? Which are the screening technologies that I use? And then next question is, which are the best screening technologies in that respect? So you might have heard that you could do a CT scan, for example, of your heart to determine the status of your heart and your arteries. But if you ask your cardiologist, okay, which is the best CT machine that gives me the lowest radiation with the highest picture quality, you probably get a blank stare in return. So these questions have to be answered too. And the fourth building block, very exciting, is actual rejuvenation therapies. There is already a lot of things that you can do in terms of geroprotectors. There are compensatory treatments that just compensate what's like going down, going wrong with aging, like trying to lift that up again. And there are actually damage repair and age reversal therapies as well. So short overview, we have got this on our website already in the 1.0 version. We're working on the 2.0 version right now with much more detail. We have 2 more, and I think super exciting initiatives going on. And the first one, I call this Rejuvenation Now, because there are already things that you can do at least to slow down the aging process, or in some respect, like starting last year and this year, to do first rounds of restorative treatments. Just to mention a few, this is not a complete list, but just to give you an idea what we're talking about. There is mitochondrial targeted antioxidants like MitoQ, stuff like berberine and metformin that probably a lot of you know about, but there's more. There's NAD plus restoration, so bringing your NAD plus levels up to a youthful level, hormone restoration that you could use. The first flight of senolytics are available I'd like to mention dasatinib and quercetin, the combination, but also there's been recent published research on physitine, and there are others like spermidine, piperlongum that you could use. There are also localized and systemic stem cell treatments that could be applied. You could use exosomes from young plasma, either the young plasma infusions or the exosomes by themselves. And there's stuff like, and it's not really much known, but you also have to know where to look. It's like lipid replacement using essential phospholipids like phosphatidylcholine and others, like either oral or as an IV, as a membrane therapeutic to restore youthful membrane operation of your cells. And there's things like decalcification of your circulatory system using EDTA for the major arteries in your body, but also very important for your capillary system. That's also a sort of repair technology. All of these approaches, of course, are not perfect. We cannot rejuvenate ourselves forever, but it's a beginning. And as time goes on, we're going to see more and more coming up, and we're also evaluating more in that. So Rejuvenation Now is a project that basically wants to systematically identify potential rejuvenation treatments, evaluate the risks, benefits, and the methods of application, evaluate potential providers. So let's say you want to do a stem cell treatment, you first have to decide which stem cell treatment is going to be, and then you need a trusted provider. Big challenge. So there's this clinic in Thailand advertising all this great stem cell stuff. Do you really trust them? Are you going to get stem cells or saline for $20,000? You don't know. So for me as a German, in Germany just banned all, like last year, banned all stem cell treatments, so you don't even get the ones from your adipose stuff. You can't do this anymore in Germany. So I foresee it's going to be a long time before I can get this from a trusted provider in Germany. And since I want to have these treatments, so it's a challenge, where do I get them from? So once we all have this information, we're going to publish therapeutic guidelines. So how do you do this? How do you do a dasatinib? How do you do a stem cell treatment? Where can you get the stem cell treatment from a trusted source? Questions that we all want to have answered. So that's our Rejuvenation Now project. And our third initiative is translational clinical trials. We are sponsoring trials that are using existing compounds for human age reversal. We are doing this in cooperation with an organization. Organization is two people in the US, James Clement and a collaborator. They are called Better Humans, betterhumans.org, and local physicians in Germany. These trials are IRB approved in the US. We're going to publish peer-reviewed results. In Germany and elsewhere, we're trying to go the route of informed consent with some patients who are really willing to do this, and we're trying to working on clinical guidelines on how to do, for example, let's say a rapamycin treatment or dasatinib treatment, and how to monitor this, which blood panel to take and what intervals, how to monitor the immune system, and so forth. The things that are currently underway, there's a trial on NAD+ restoration using topical patches and oral supplementation. There's one on dasatinib and quercetin. There's one on rapamycin. It's going to end this year, end of this year. We're going to start something on physitine. And there's also one on, this is also very exciting, using young plasma exosomes. So this is not using umbilical cord plasma, but using high-G centrifuges to extract the exosomes themselves, and then you dissolve them and do an injection with them and measure if there's any result. So this, of course, directly feeds back into the first project, Rejuvenation Now. All the experience from that one is going to go in that stuff. Personally, I do a lot of this thing, so everything that we publish on the website, myself or people that are really close to us and working with us are doing. If we just go, whoops, back to the this one. People are already doing all this, so this is not hypothetical. We are a small community of people working together on this one, and over the community, these are things that are already done. So people are doing this, even though they don't have a perfect information. But to take it to the next level, I think we have to have a more profound guideline. So yeah, that's about it. To do all this work, I've provided the financial resources to expand the team. We are hiring MDs as specialists for evidence-based medicine for our personal longevity strategy, and we also have a positions open for scientific analysts for rejuvenation therapies. So these are going to be people that help us on this Rejuvenation Now project and coordinate the translational trials. Yeah, that's it. That's our website. Maybe just as a closing remark, I think to bring the whole thing of rejuvenation therapy forward, advocacy is really needed. But I think the biggest thing that we can do in terms of advocacy, demonstrate that things are really working. So this is going to be the biggest game changer ever. As long as we cannot demonstrate rejuvenation, all the talks are hypothetical. To the general public, it sounds like science fiction. They don't relate to it. It like you have these arguments, well, overpopulation and all this stupid stuff. But once rejuvenation is there, nobody is going to say, well, there's this treatment, I'm not going to have cancer, I'm going to be 20 years younger, but you know what, I'm not going to take it, because of overpopulation. Yeah. So that really gives you a feeling how ridiculous it is. So I think for me, and this is what we are working on, we want to get the first clinic, the first real rejuvenation treatments into the hands of people, as much people as possible, and this is going to build the pressure and the excitement about the future, and that's what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. So two quick questions. Okay, no, fine. You said that Germany just stopped stem cell treatment. I like to say that America invents, Asia improves, and Europe regulates. So we need to change this mentality also, because here there is over-regulation in Europe.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. So my picture on how to change things is like, as a German, I don't know if you know a bit of history, how the German wall fell. It's not because we had politicians do all that stuff, because it's people went to Hungary for vacation and never returned. From Hungary, they came back to Western Germany, and that's how they made the wall was oblivious after that. And so I have the same imagination that we can have treatment centers, if not in Germany, then someplace else, like there are countries that have a better regulation, and then people go on vacation there, get their treatments, return home, say I'm rejuvenated, and of course everybody is asking, why do I have to go some place like Georgia in Russia, or Thailand, or the St. Kitts Island, or Mexico to get my treatment? Why can't I get it in Berlin or in Frankfurt and Hamburg, where I have doctors that I trust? And I think this is going to put a lot of pressure on the regulatory system and on the politicians, and that's a good way to change things. Well, that's the way we want to do it, try to do it.